I
Uh-huh.
guess just kind of as like a precursor in your initial, and like kind of your initial note on Metafy you're talking about, getting a better
Uh-huh.
idea. Oh, excuse me, for Olimar, your neutral disadvantage, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to start out as not Olimar myself, fight you with some more traditional characters, see how you handle that, give feedback from
Yeah,
there, and then
sure.
maybe at the end I can
Yeah.
show you some of my stuff. Okay,
Yeah, alright, that's fine.
sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, who don't? You know what? We'll try. We'll try this. Wow, I thought I signed up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice.
Mm. Nice.
So, I felt like you were doing pretty solid in beating that game. And kind of as we were going on, I was picking up on generally how you like to get into your swing timings, your habits, and stuff like that. And then I started to hit my groove. When I got you in disadvantage, um, especially on that last stock, it seemed to just be like you just couldn't figure out a good way to get back. And I think part of that was that one, I would be able to kind of condition you or bait you into going a certain way. So I might run at the ledge a certain way or run, and then that might condition you to roll, and then I'd run back and I'd grab you because I know your first thought's going to be to shield or something like that. Or,
Mm-hmm.
because you would immediately act a lot of the time when you would get to the ledge, like you might get up or roll or do something like that. It made it really easy for me to keep my distance. And then since I'm also watching your Pikmin, I'm like, okay, he's got a purple, and then I started killing them when you did F2 and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just got like gradually out of your favor when you started really strong. So going into this next game, instead of trying to just get your hits and stuff like that, you can slow it down sometimes. You can take a second on the ledge if I'm not, going to immediately kill you or something like that. And don't just like panic pick options, but instead try and pay attention to where I am or what I might be doing that could be kind of conditioning you into those things.
All right.
A little patience goes a long way with the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like right there, you're running away to pluck a Pikmin or do something, but you're not respecting the fact that I can come hit you. Like, there's nothing stopping me. Oh, I thought it was a level, but it's not. Really nice jump read. So, that was good. Why I do want to ask though, what was your thought process in like getting rid of that blue when I'm at kill percent with that throw?
I thought you would just be aware that I was gonna go for a grab if I had a blue,
Okay.
so I got rid of it just because I didn't feel
You
like
didn't feel
grabbing
comfortable?
because yeah,
Okay.
just grabbing.
So that's an understandable thought process, but let's try to break it down to where you can use that to your advantage, right? So if you're fighting someone and you think, okay, they're a little bit more privy to my lineup than the average person and are watching for that, well, how am I going to dodge
Mm-hmm.
grabs? I'm not going to shield, so I'm either going to outright dodge or I'm going to jump or something like that. So, if we're fighting and you think I'm going to jump when you dash into me, what if you just jump roar bear with that blue and then you catch my jump at the back end and I die? Right? Because you recognize that I might be dodging the grab. Or you keep the blue, you go, oh, I'll get a purple, maybe I'll force him into shield, use some shield pressure through the purple side B and stuff like that, then get a grab. So, yes, you are right that I am going to be watching that, but I'm not perfect and nobody else is. They will eventually mess up, right? And they will get caught by that stuff. So, you don't want to give your opponent so much credit that you just don't utilize certain tools to your advantage. But instead go, all right, yeah, you might be a little bit more aware, but that means I can get a little bit more creative because you're scared of this option that I can realistically never go for with that blue if I don't want to, but the blue will still kill with other moves. Like if you forward smash me at the end there with that blue, it would have killed me.
Right. Got it.
It's like right there, run in,
Mm-hmm.
dash back, continue going for a roll. Like, you were stuck in
Mm-hmm.
disadvantage there for a long time, but when you were recovering, you just like threw both your pick when you had the white and the purple, and then you had to deal
Yeah.
with nothing for a while. And you didn't need to throw
Yeah.
that purple because you were near the ledge, so you could have kept it and recovered, and that would have made a big difference, or at least assisted you some way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're off stage, you know you want to try and maximize the amount of resources you can have. Oh, the pigment delaying that. You jumped up, caught you.
Yeah.
So when we're getting in these
Mhm.
scuffles and stuff, and I'm kind of like knocking you out, I'm knocking you back, and I'm kind of just keeping you there. What
Yeah.
is your thought process? Because clearly you don't have a solution to get back as consistently as you'd like. Do you feel like you're just kind of lost and you're struggling, or you don't know what's happening? Walk me through how you're feeling about that stuff.
I feel like I'm just like picking whatever option, like my autopilot
Okay.
option. I'm not
Yeah.
like really.
Thinking about it, like really trying to. Okay, and
Yeah.
that's a good place to start because something that I like to try and teach a lot of my students and stuff is how to try and break that kind of autopilot and then
Mhm.
almost get an additional sense of awareness for yourself so you can evaluate the game. So when I do knock you away, or when we do get in one of those interactions where maybe at the ledge, right, like I use some movement, I bait you into rolling, and then I punish you, right? That's a really good example of where
Uh-huh.
when I knock you away, you could go, oh, okay, so I rolled there because I thought he was going to do something, but it was just a bait. So you can recognize that you're getting punished because I conditioned you to roll and you did that, and that's what I wanted. So you'd be like, all right, well maybe next time I shouldn't roll just because he moves. Maybe next time I could regularly get up, or maybe I could delay my roll and throw off his timing and things like that. And you want to try and talk yourself through the situations and break them down in some ways after they happen, right? So sometimes you'll be able to get it immediately. That's the ideal. It's like you maybe make a mistake. You're like, oh, I shouldn't have rolled there. He baited it out. Next time I'll be better. But when you're really starting it out and trying to break that autopilot, you have to start in a way that you might have to do it after the game or after the stock or something where you can kind of think back and break it down, because you have to train yourself to just break out of that autopilot and analyze what's happening in the game and then get back into it. So when we're playing these next few games, especially whenever you're getting hit or you're getting messed up or something like that, try and think about like why you're specifically being why you're getting hit there and what ideally you could have done better. The thing about
All right.
Olimar that's so unique with him is his
Uh-huh.
disadvantage is not like a fox where you get comboed the whole time and you can't do anything. It's like you get hit and then it's a reset essentially. You're just in disadvantage and then you get hit again and again, right? Like it's a bunch of interactions where you have the potential to outplay them, but things don't always go right because it's difficult.
Mhm.
So really try and think about that stuff while we're playing these games.
All right.
Ooh, hopefully, let me see this connection cleans up. Should be good. The best way to punch that I found with Olimar is generally to grab it if you have enough picking.
All right.
Because,
Mhm.
assuming they'll shield, because they usually do shield. In that case, I jabbed, so I don't know if you would have been able to punish with anything, maybe except for forward air out of shield. I don't know the frame rate off the top of my head. But she has a frame 2 jab, so it's rather quick. But would they shield? Yeah, grab's definitely the play. Honestly, you showed some really good patience there. I said to like halfway through the
Mhm.
game, really started to commit less. You'd be like, okay, I can wait a little bit on the ledge and mix it up. But you noticed I was catching you a lot less frequently, right? Like that was helping to break up your disadvantage, make it a little bit harder
Yeah.
to punish.
Mhm.
Connection was a little rough there, so that game wasn't ideal or anything, but it was still
Yeah.
good. Did you find yourself maybe thinking more about with those hits when you're getting hit? You're like, okay, I have to actively try and figure out what's happening in the game and maybe try some different things, or do you felt
Yeah.
like you okay? That's good, and it's one of those things where you won't always have like a really clear cut answer of what to do. You can't always figure it out in the moment, but as long as you're attempting to
Mhm.
do that, you're gonna be better off than if you were just kind of subconsciously doing it and then brushing it off in the moment and letting your autopilot kind of keep going. That's not the ideal way to be doing these things. I'm actually gonna swap character real quick.
Okay.
Choose your fighter. Mario. Three, two, one, go!
Ooh, turn around. Nice. So I'm
Mhm.
intentionally trying to like be really aggressive and keep a lot of shield pressure on top of you, or just like mash on you, just because I
Yeah.
want you to try and like, that pressure has to end at some point, or it has to restart,
Uh-huh.
and there's two distinct ways to handle that, right? So if you're fighting on Mario and the pressure ends, and they're like, they end it with like an F tilt or a jab, that's not safe. That's a punish, right? You can fair that, depending if they jab or whatever. You can smash tackle or whatever.
Mhm.
And then after that, even more so, if they restart it, so let's say it's like back air to back air, there's a lot of different ways you can go about that. If they're doing a falling back air into a rising back air, that rising back air is eventually not safe because they're not landing with it. So breaking it down in those ways helps a lot in trying to figure out, like, okay, do I run, do I hold shield, things like that. And it's going to be a bit harder for you than normal because, you know, I know generally how Olimars like to handle things, so I'm trying to exploit that from you. But trying to
Uh-huh.
identify what I'm doing after I hit you is really important. It's a way you can get a more consistent punish off of it. Because it is definitely not easy to do it with Mario on top of you. Nice. No. Fine. No.
That was
Nice.
an accident.
That's alright, we take those. And
Uh-huh.
that game I felt like way more patience, really kind of waiting, trying to find your openings. You got some really good anti-airs with your own stuff, or not anti-airs, but kind of like interceptions with those back airs, that forward airs. You know, you weren't panic rolling really, anything like that. I thought that was a lot better. So it definitely seems like you're just in these few games trying a lot harder to evaluate whatever's happening in the current game, like at that moment, and be like,
Yeah.
okay, what does it do? And that's what you want with Olimar. It's like the same awareness you have for like what Pikmin's coming up next and stuff like that. You want to apply to the entire game and be like, okay, what are they doing? What am I doing? How can I choose the appropriate response? And once you do that, it gets a lot easier with the character because then you can kind of always figure out an answer. Unfortunate. Oh, it did not wall jump.
Yes, sir, buddy.
I figured as much. You mind if I go Olmar?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, cool. Definitely have a pretty good idea, I think, of the stuff you're doing down right now. So I just want to kind of show you maybe how I approach it. And the Olmar did is a little weird, so it's not like the most accurate representation of how you play a lot of matchups. But my plan is with my Olimar to be able to maybe swap my color actually, to be able to throw off a lot more of your groove, because I'll have a better idea of what you want to go for and things like that, and how I can punish it more appropriately. So,
Yeah.
did you notice how in that game, one, my rhythm tends to be a lot more consistent, but also a bit faster, right? So I'm doing something consecutively. Like there's not a lot of breaks in my play, even when you hit me, and that doesn't always work. It's not perfect. Sometimes I have to stop and kind of reconsider what's happening or respect my opponent. But in this, when I'm fighting you, I have a really good beat on what you want to do, and I try and exploit that. So, like you saw with my up B, there was times where I might come in at you, and then I'll juke just at the last second and go up to the platform and cancel with an aerial. Or I'll be recovering or something, and I'll throw a purple, and then I'll immediately come follow up on it. Like, I'm not letting you just have one option. I'm saying, hey, you need to work for these wins on your end. I'm maybe letting you commit first, baiting you out with my movement, stuff like that. So when we're playing, you can't be just kind of swinging willy-nilly like that. You gotta, you probably think, oh, I can hit him here, that's why I'm swinging. But when it doesn't work, then you gotta be like, all right, he juked it, or he faked me out, so maybe I need to be a little bit less committal, or maybe need to overshoot if I'm spacing it just outside your range, things like that. But this next game, I want you to try and be a little bit more mindful of when you're swinging, because if it's not working, you need to try and come up with a different solution for it. So a lot of the times it's timing, sometimes it's spacing, you know, and there's no shame in just sitting back and throwing Pikmin for a bit until you really kind of either coerce your opponent into approaching or you come up with a better strategy.
All right.
Three, two, one, go!
Oh, I don't know how I got a B with that, but alright. Nice. Oh my gosh, Kalos sucks.
Yeah.
Give me
Nice.
1 sec to get my dog. She's being. Oh, you okay? Oh, she just fell. 1 sec, sorry. I'm gonna put her outside my room.
All right.
Wins!
Alright, sorry about that. No, that game was
Yeah.
quite a bit better, I'd say. I felt like you were. It was, you know, there were still a lot of things I was catching you with and stuff, but I felt like you were being a little bit
Mhm.
more aware of when you were trying to swing. I think you could be, honestly, a little bit quicker about getting the Pikmin off you, too. Like, you let a lot of them just tick. And down tilt's a really great option for getting them off. Up smash, too, can be as well. But there was some solid stuff there, like you were catching me with good, kind of like, it was like a step ahead. Like, you hit me with the one, I don't remember what it was. It might have been Nair, like down tilt or something. But you ran past and caught where I was behind me with the F smash. That type of preparedness is super important for him. Because if you have an idea of where they're going to go, you can get really big punishes, and that was a great example of that. And that's essentially what I'm doing to you. It's like I'm throwing out attacks, and I already know, like, okay, he's probably going to handle it this way. Or I know my character, you know, my Olimar's sequence will end here, so here's what I have to do to try and be as safe as possible with it. Like I'm trying to really abuse my understanding of the character, which you can also do as well, you know, if you have that understanding on yourself. Because you want to know how safe your character is and stuff like that. If you're just always guessing, it's not going to put you in a good spot against a lot of other players. Like right there, I ran knowing you were in spot dodge. Oh, unfortunate.
Nice.
Yeah, just a lot of patience. I mean, how are you feeling playing these? Like, do you feel like playing the Ditto specifically is kind of hitting your normal weak points where you might be struggling, or do you think it's providing a different challenge that you're not normally used to? How do you feel?
Feel like it's kind of both because I have to pay attention to my normal weak points, but I also have to pay attention to something new, which is your lineup.
Yes, it is definitely an acquired skill to be able to manage two Pikmin, two lineup worth of Pikmin effectively. But I think it's one worth learning, even if you're not like a fan of the Ditto or anything like that. Just being able to be like, okay, I can watch my opponent and watch me is very important, because that means you're going to be even better at fighting opponents who are much more straightforward, maybe who don't have, you know, a Pikmin lineup, be able to keep an eye on them more. And I feel like one of the bigger weaknesses I'm seeing with you when we're playing is just you tend to fall into these really like, I mean, like we already talked about the autopilot, kind of like when I run at you, you spot dodge, kind of like those flinch responses. But you might be less. I think your disadvantage in general tends to be a bit kind of linear, like the way you handle being approached or being attacked and stuff. Not necessarily saying it's always bad, right? Because like just doing something linear doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it can get predictable. So I feel like trying to mix that up, you know, you're like, oh, maybe I can be this way, maybe I can do that. Like those little like micro spacing moments, like you do with that up, be there, make that a lot harder to deal with. And those are the important things. Or maybe like holding shield a little bit longer. Just mixing stuff up like that can do so much for you. Like right there, like I beat past, and you were attacking where I was, not where I was gonna be, and that's why I ended up getting past you. You were focusing too much on that.
forward tilt.
Yeah. I was like, I don't have time to plug a Pikmin. I'll just clock him to one of them real quick. Do you feel like when we're playing, you are seeing how I'm confirming on things? Like, because
Uh-huh.
it's like I'll throw something and then I already know what I want to do, right? Does it always work? No. But I already have an idea, and sure, I might need to change it up based on that. With you, it doesn't feel like you always know. Or if you do, it's like a very simple, like, I just want to throw out a smash attack here. You know, it's not like a sequence of things that I think builds to something. And I think trying to expand upon how you're hitting your opponent, what you're getting off of it. You know, it doesn't always have to end with some big combo. Sometimes it can be like you could hit them with like a quick jab combo or something, then you could reset into a down tilt combo or into another jab or a tech chase or something like that. And I think that would also help kind of the more straightforward linear aspects of your gameplay, even in disadvantage too, because you won't always feel the need to do these like really traditional straightforward options. Because the nice thing about Olimar is he can throw out a lot of attacks, like, in a really short time. They're not always safe, but he can throw them out, right? So you can kind of cover a lot of room with him. And that can definitely scare a lot of opponents. Slightly off on that range.
Yeah.
What kind of play styles do you tend to normally, or what kind of strategies or maybe character archetypes do you tend to normally struggle with? Is it rushdown?
It's kind of rushdowns and trapper characters.
Okay. So those trapper characters tend to just get easier if you have a really heightened sense of awareness, because you can oftentimes catch it before it gets there, right? Because they might set up like projectiles or hit you one way and want you to air dodge into something, right? Like they try to scare you. So if you understand, like, okay, their setups are fundamentally built on these options. So if I DI out or if I DI in or whatever, if I don't air dodge, this should beat it. That'll help a lot. So that usually comes down to like a lot of just raw understanding. The zoners, and I think you were doing it well against Mario at some points too, are kind of like wait until they give you an opening, you know? Give me an example of a rushdown character. I said zoner. Give me an example of a rushdown character that might typically give you trouble, and I'll tell you an answer how to beat their option.
Sheik.
Okay, Sheik, funny enough, pairing shits on her. Because her moves are very weak, so they don't kill Pikmin very easily. So when she fares, you can do it. But even if not that, one, I would say try and get purples ASAP, because they're going to really shut her down, because you can throw them as she's approaching. I personally like white pivot grabs a lot to catch her landing, because she likes to run on top of you and land an aerial. And then you can also lag her aerials additionally with, with Pikmin. But let's say she forward airs your shield right here. I'm going to pull up her frame rate and give you the exact answer. Let's say she forward airs your shield. Where is she? So I believe forward airs -2 or 3. Forward airs -2. That is very good, right? But they have to fall with it for it to be that safe, because the move is actually pretty long in terms of animation. So if they fall on your shield -2, she does not have a grounded move that's safe on shield. her safest would be up tilt if she did that, right? But even then, you can still forward air that. If she F tilts you, you can up smash it. If she down tilts you, you can grab it. All right. Well, what if she forward airs and then goes for something else? Well, it's like the Mario example, right? If she does a forward air landing and then rises with an aerial, as she hits her shield with that rising aerial, then you hit her because she's stuck in that animation.
All right.
So it's all about figuring out. But if you want to try and combat them in a more aggressive sense, you know, pairing's very helpful. Use your boxing options. Try and outbox them there and do that type of interaction with them and get them away from you. And then you can get a lot more latch damage. And I like to think that during the course of this session, since I pointed out early on, you've been a lot more kind of aware and cognizant of certain interactions between us and been thinking about them more. Because, like, sure, you'll still make mistakes and you'll still kind of maybe guess wrong or evaluate wrong about the game state, but you seem a bit quicker to try and adjust them, even in the game, and I think that's really good. And as long as you can keep working on that and carry it with you when you're fighting other characters or opponents, you're going to be a lot better off because you're going to adapt much faster. Because your Olimar is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think you have a solid foundation. It's just your advantage state and, like, the advantage and disadvantage are kind of simple. And, you know, we were going over some stuff like, you know, the little bit of nuance to up B and stuff can help recover a lot. Going and, you know, juking people out with certain directions. Advantage is a little bit more elaborate because you have to understand where they're going to go. And that's how I do it. Like, when I hit someone, I already know where they're going to go, generally, so I can be ready to punish them. Because if I'm having to wait and react, I'm too slow. That's not... Olimar's too slow to be reacting to that type of stuff. Sure, you can be like, oh, it's a tech chase, I know. But you need to know, like, okay, if I hit someone, they're probably going to go this way. So when you're playing from now on, you have to be, like, able to kind of catch those things as you're doing them. So when you go in an option, you go, okay, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Then you can answer that question, and you'd be like, all right, well... Now I know, now I can make those adjustments. And then, bada bing, bada boom, you're winning even more now. But it's definitely not easy. And with Olimar, especially in disadvantage, but I found the higher up I get, at least in beating opponents online, even at advantage, sometimes you have to just back off. You can't, as much as you want to pressure advantage or you want to fight your way out of disadvantage, characters just have better buttons sometimes, and they're faster. So it's actually more beneficial to just take their hit, or like get your hit or whatever, and then just be like, nah, I'm out of here. I'm gonna retreat. I'll reset. I can outplay you in neutral, and things like that, and that can benefit you a lot playing this character. So it's rather unforgiving to try and play him, especially in this online meta. No, you got me. Nice job. Really good stuff. A lot of additional patience that game that I think just paid dividends. You got your hits. You weren't overextending super hard. And that was just a really good game. I felt like you were actively thinking about that stuff way more. Trying to catch yourself not going too far. You know, acknowledging where I was going to go when you hit me and being ready for like when I might try and counteract. That was really good. So we'll do one more game and then we can wrap it up.
All right. Another photo.
Solid stuff, but just, like I was
Mm.
saying, I thought about that last game. I was like, okay, how is he getting me? All right, he was reading a lot of my jumps, so I was a little more careful about those. I was trying to bait stuff out, and I did do that with FB a few times. I looked like I was about to recover, then I turn around at the last second and forward air you, or hit you, or do something like that.
Mhm.
And try and use that really fine degree of control just at the last second. Because especially on Wi-Fi, and something you could exploit on that is, it's not just you who can't react, it's everybody who just is fundamentally lacking the ability to react as well to things. You can make them second guess themselves, and that self-doubt either means they're going to commit something wrong and be juking up at the last second, or they're going to delay potentially, and that means it's going to be a lot easier to hit them. And that's what I try to do against you and just a lot of other people as well, and just abuse that, especially with things like Pikmin and how they lag you and all that stuff. But for you moving forward, I think what you got to keep doing is just you have to like really break that autopilot and train yourself, like talk yourself through these situations when you're messing up or when you're winning, and just try to understand it all. You don't have to be able to recite the entire match. I'm not asking that, but like when these things happen, you have to know why they're going that way, or at least attempt to figure out why you lost or why something happened that way, and that helps you break that kind of like instinctual play and get you at a higher level of accountability. And when you're at a higher level of accountability, you can clearly change what's going wrong so you can affect it better, because you already have like a really good this doesn't even sound offensive, like a very good autopilot Olimar in a sense. Like it's
Mhm.
fundamentally sound, but to take that to the next level, you have to be like, okay, I have to do these things very elaborately. Like the same idea you have when you go for a read and you're like, ooh, I think he's gonna jump here, bam, it's the same principle but just for everything else.
All right.
um do you have any questions or anything though?
Uh, no.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed the lesson, man. I will get it uploaded to you in the
Yeah.
coming days, and I'll send it your way. But yeah, just keep working on what we said, and I think as time goes on, you might be a little bit slower at first as you really try and force yourself
Mhm.
to keep up with these things, because there's a lot of information to take in, but you kind of retrain yourself to be a bit faster.
All right.
All right, man. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
See you.